More recently, I've become interested in vitamin D. So, what we used to do is we'd live indoors in our little cave, and then we'd sleep with no artificial light, which is really important because having darkness at night is really important to make melatonin. That's what the pineal gland does. And if your pineal gland is not functioning optimally, you don't make melatonin, it significantly increases your risk of cancer, particularly breast cancer. So night shift work is actually classified by the EPA as a type 2 carcinogen because these synthetic lights switch off melatonin, they don't have infrared. So what we did during the night was we were in the cave. During the day we went outdoors, we went hunting, we got sunshine, we got blue light. Blue light is important for the day to switch off the pineal gland and to make infrared. And we've disturbed that natural cycle of life. And so we need to get back to basics, walk outdoors, get sunshine, eat once or twice a day, reestablish your circadian rhythm where you have darkness at night and light during the day. It's just common sense. And so vitamin D is so critical. There's overwhelming data. This is not fringe. There's overwhelming data that people who have low vitamin D levels, their risk of cancer is increased exponentially. And interestingly enough, if you live in a high latitude, so closer to the North or South Pole, you get less ultraviolet B, you make less vitamin D, you have a higher risk of cancer. In fact, I'll tell you, there was a study recently published in a peer-reviewed journal which they looked at 3 simple interventions to reduce cancer. It was a prospective randomized study. They gave patients 4,000 units of vitamin D, 1 gram of omega-3, plus a simple home exercise program. They reduced the risk of cancer by 50%. Just think of the implications. And so I would add 1 or 2 other compounds. I would probably add melatonin to that. I would probably add metformin and treat insulin resistance. You could eliminate cancer from this planet. But so while you would save enormously, our healthcare expenditure would go down, but the pharmaceutical profits would go down too. And obviously that's the issue, is that it goes against the pharma narrative, which is to sell them drugs that don't cure them. They want you to take drugs forever that don't cure disease, they just suppress symptoms. It's a very sobering thought, because I think people need to take matters in their own hands. I think people don't want to get cancer. They don't want to get metabolic syndrome. So there are simple common sense things you can do to reduce your risk. Take vitamin D, take melatonin, do some exercise, get some sunshine. We're not talking about high-tech interventions here. And then obviously, we need to get more in tune with ourselves, and the level of stress and anxiety and depression in this society is out of control. The number of people addicted to substances. Through lifestyle changes that are just common sense, we can improve our health, our well-being, our longevity, and our happiness. And so I use vitamin D because the amount of data supporting the concept that vitamin D deficiency causes cancer and that supplementing with vitamin D reduces your risk of cancer is overwhelming. And yet nobody knows about it and nobody cares. Medicine is controlled by big pharma. The food industry is controlled by the big nutrition companies. And I think they're in cahoots to keep Americans as unhealthy as they can by promoting bad food, which causes all of these diseases for which you take drugs, which are not curative. They suppress the symptoms, they don't treat the disease. And we need a reawakening because this current medical system is broken. Our goal now is to educate clinicians, healthcare workers, and the public that they need to be empowered. Epoch Times is wonderful in that respect because it does speak the truth. I'm not making this stuff up. You know, it's not like I'm taking some psychedelic drug it's disturbing my thought process. In fact, there was a paper written on vitamin D deficiency in New England Journal of Medicine. So, you know, that's considered, you know, the gold standard. And in this review paper, they beautifully describe how vitamin D deficiency causes cancer and how if you supplement, it reduces the risk. So the data's there, but physicians have been shielded from the truth and the science.